This is Van Silk reporting to you for Black Cultural TV Network. I'd like to say condolences to the family of Representative Sheila Jackson Lee. She was definitely a champion for progress. She died at the age of 74 the day of cancer. As reported by the New York Times, she was a Democrat in Texas who was a leading voice for racial justice and progressive cause during 3 decades in the House. She died Friday in Houston at the age of 74. Her death was announced in a statement by her family that did not list a cause, but she said in June that she had cancer. All I can say is, as I'm looking at this here, rest in peace, Sheila Jackson, and thank you for everything you have done in your time serving this country. This is Van Silk. I'm right here at Black Culture Network. Check out some of the news outlet and what they had to say about the great Sheila Lee Jackson. Until another day, I'll talk to you later.
And we do begin with breaking news tonight. The family of Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee announced the passing of the late Congresswoman. They posted a statement on her social media saying that she was a fierce champion and served for more than 30 years. Funeral arrangements are pending. Now, we just received this news about 10-15 minutes ago. We do know that it's something that is very shocking to so many people as they're trying to process this news. She was dealing with pancreatic cancer. We hadn't seen her for several months out in the public, which was very unusual because she is very outspoken and very much involved in her community. She's been serving, like we said, for more than 30 years. She was just 74 years old and a pillar in our community. Whichever political aisle you came from, you knew Sheila Jackson was there, and you knew she was there for the community, working for you, and very involved, like I said. And on Twitter or X, they posted her family and her staff posted this press release that you were looking at a little bit earlier right there. And in part, it says that she was simply known as Congresswoman by her constituents in recognition of her near ubiquitous presence and service to their daily lives for more than 30 years. A local, national, international humanitarian, she was acknowledged worldwide for her courageous fights for racial justice, criminal justice, and human rights, with a special emphasis that is on women and children. Her legislative victories impacted millions, from establishing the Juneteenth federal holiday to reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act. However, she impacted us most as our beloved wife, sister, mother, and baby grandmother. She will be dearly missed, but her legacy will continue to inspire all who believe in freedom, justice, and democracy. God bless you, Congresswoman, and God bless the United States of America. We do know that funeral arrangements are pending. Again, she was just 74 years old, and I can tell you I've met her several times outside of just the journalism world, and she's always been very gracious and nice, and here's a little bit more about her remarkable life and legacy that she will leave.
We are here today to stop the fear and panic that is going on in the community. The Constitution is the highest law of the land. This is why I want this meeting of health leaders in this community. You need not to sign documents.
Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee has personified hard work and public service since arriving in Houston in 1987. The 74-year-old Queens, New York native and daughter of a comic book artist attended Yale University and the University of Virginia, where she obtained her law degree. While in college, Jackson Lee married the man who would become her husband, Elwin Lee, in 1973. He eventually took a job that would lead the New Yorkers to Houston, where they had 2 children. Elwin was hired as a law professor in 1973 at the University of Houston. But Jackson Lee had political aspirations, running unsuccessfully for judgeships in Houston 3 times. Eventually, it was the late 80s when Jackson Lee was appointed to a municipal judge seat, by then Houston Mayor Kathy Whitmire. But Jackson Lee had even greater political dreams. In 1989, she ran for and won a spot on Houston City Council.
But I don't view it as a government. I view it as people.
It was clear politics was in Jackson Lee's blood. She served in city council until she set her sights on the 18th Congressional District in 1994, where she defeated Congressman Craig Jackson.
And I stand here with the recognition of my chairman, Mr. Nadler, and the years and decades, mine over 2 decades, of fighting for gun laws.
Jackson Lee has held the congressional seat since, with a focus on a progressive agenda, social justice, racial issues, LGBTQ rights, and activism.
There is no defunding of the police. It is standing up the police and the community.
Have all been just some of her causes. She's known as a boots on the ground type politician. She's on the scene of every major disaster from Hurricane Ike to the COVID pandemic.
We are concerned about people's ability to survive.
It was in 2012 where the Congresswoman announced she was in fact a breast cancer survivor and now cancer-free.
Well, I'm a survivor, and the Sisters Network has been the real first face to many African-American women.
11 years after that news, Congresswoman Jackson Lee announced she was running for mayor of Houston.
Sheila for Houston!
However, it would not be in the cards for the longtime politician. Jackson Lee was defeated by Texas State Senator John Whitmire.
I hope you will allow me to continue to work and serve you as I have done in the past.
Jackson Lee turned her focus back onto the 18th Congressional District, where she held on to her seat despite a strong challenge. Shortly after that win, the Congresswoman announced a familiar and dreaded illness had returned. This time in June of 2024, Jackson Lee said she had pancreatic cancer.